Thanksgiving is that time of year when we stop to reflect on things that we might normally take for granted. A steady income, food on the table, and a roof over our heads. The man in our next story knows how important these simple blessings can be. He learned their value through a loving family and a very special Thanksgiving miracle. It happened nearly 40 years ago when he was just an 11-year-old boy. Isaac Canales came about as close as you can get to growing up in church. His father, Miguel, was the pastor of a small, struggling storefront congregation in Carson, California.
To start out, there weren't that many people, probably no more than 5 to 10 families at the most. And at any given church meeting, you probably had 15 people in attendance.
Isaac's mother, Lupe, was the church organist. He and his sister Elizabeth did whatever they could to help.
Sometimes we play the tambourine, clean the church. We do a lot of different odd jobs. Anything that needed to be done, we would do.
In addition to being the central focus of their lives, the church was the family's only source of income.
Somebody would put in a quarter, somebody would put in a 50-cent piece. If we were fortunate, any given night, there would be maybe 75 cents to $1.50 in the offering plate.
Their meager collections forced the Canales family to live in a one-bedroom apartment. Rent was $26 per month. Meals were mostly rice and beans.
I don't think that we ever went hungry. My mother could cook rice 20 different ways. She could make tortillas with her bare hands, quickly and fast, out of flour and whatever. She always was very resourceful.
There you go. Eat it all, drink your milk.
The one holiday Isaac looked forward to more than any other was Thanksgiving. He dreamed about that one day's meal all year long.
I really looked forward to turkey, of course, and plenty of it, stuffing, cranberry sauce, pumpkin pie, corn, and ice-cold milk.
Thanksgiving was special to Isaac because we hardly had any food all the year long. And he was a husky little boy, and he just loved to eat.
But as November 25th, 1960 approached, Isaac's dream of the perfect Thanksgiving meal seemed to be little more than a fantasy.
I could tell that things were getting slim as far as our having a Thanksgiving dinner because the collection didn't amount to more than 75 cents on Sunday night.
With only a day to go before Thanksgiving, Isaac accompanied his father to the market. But this year, his father didn't even bother to look in the poultry section.
I was sad because I realized that we very likely were not going to have a turkey that following day, and we would probably have some tortillas and some beans for Thanksgiving.
That evening, the family attended their regular Wednesday night church meeting. As the service progressed, Isaac's dreams of a Thanksgiving turkey faded even further.
Amen. Amen.
Judging by the amount of people that came in that night for the service, I knew for sure that short of a miracle, we would not have a Thanksgiving dinner the following day.
Isaac's father asked him if he would do the honor of passing the collection plate. Before Isaac accepted the task, he said a brief prayer.
As I prayed, I asked God to bless the offering and multiply it, bless those who give, and bless those who can't give.
As Isaac finished his prayer, he looked up to see a shiny black limousine pulling up outside. Moments later, a man in a tuxedo entered the church.
I didn't know who he was. Nobody in the church knew who he was. He was just a stranger. And he walked in out of the darkness to sit down inside of the church.
Isaac began collecting the offering, and soon he was approaching the stranger.
He reached down and pulled out a restaurant napkin and dropped it into the tambourine with a thud. Then 20 silver dollar pieces came rolling out.
As Isaac returned to the front of the church, he could barely contain his excitement.
Turkey.
My mother immediately pounced on the organ and started playing "Oh, When the Saints Go Marching In," and the whole church broke out into song, all 12 of us. When I turned around to look for this stranger, he was gone. And I think he exited when we were singing, but I don't really know. All I know is that he wasn't there anymore.
39 years later, the identity of their benefactor remains a mystery. But Isaac has his own theory.
I believe this man was an angel, and that under the special conditions of his appearance and disappearance, he probably was a special messenger from God.
All he came for was to bless us, was to make sure that we had something that we didn't think that we were going to have.
Te damos gracias, Señor, por estos alimentos que nos das. Gracias por
The meal that Thanksgiving was one that Isaac still gives thanks for today.
I learned a lesson, a valuable lesson for life, and the lesson was that God answers prayer. And if you have a need and you pray, God will answer you.
We thank the Lord every Thanksgiving. And we remember the Thanksgiving that we almost did not have a Thanksgiving. We'll never stop thanking the Lord for all the miracles that He's performed in our lives.
Thanksgiving for me now is richer. It's full of meaning. It goes beyond pilgrims and turkeys and pumpkin pie. It is a lesson on faith and a lesson in trusting God.
Isaac Canales took his lesson in faith and put it to practical use. Today, he's a minister himself, and he joins us now from his church in Carson, California. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Richard.
Well, Reverend, your experience with this angel has obviously had a profound influence on your life.
It's an experience I will never forget. And that little church that my father pastored, I pastor now, and it's grown to a congregation of 1,500 members.
Wow. And has this mysterious stranger ever returned to your church?
No, we never saw the stranger again, but we're praying that he'll come back.
Well, maybe he's watching tonight. Anyway, I've heard that this experience still affects the way you celebrate Thanksgiving.
It sure does. We have a ministry now we call the Lord's Pantry, and out of the Lord's Pantry, we will give a turkey with all the trimmings to anyone that asks for it.
Well, that sounds like a wonderful way to share your good fortune with other people. And I want to thank you for sharing your story with us tonight.
You're welcome, Richard, and have a happy Thanksgiving.